Howdy y'all, Caleb here. We've got a battle report. This is going to be a quick one. We had a casual game over the weekend, and so we wanted to bring some fun lists, and I think I may have stumbled across what is the perfect Seraphon list. Alright, so let's take a look at this real quick. Thunder Lizard in Coalesced for Seraphon, so we do have that -1 to damage. Thunder Lizard lets us take Stegadons as Battleline. Also gives us extra wounds on them, and some other fun stuff. Y'all know what that is. Our leaders is going to be Lord Kroak, taking the spell Stellar Tempest, and the Saurus Astrolith Bearer is going to be my general. Because he's not on a mount, he does get to take another command trait, and I'm taking Mighty Warleader, which gives him a 4-up. He'll get an extra command point. So I have 4 chances with Kroak, has 3, and this, the Astrolith Bearer has 1 to get extra command points. So we should be rolling in command points in this list. The Artefact, Fusil of Conflaguration, which I'm pretty sure I forgot to do the entire game again. I don't know why I always forget that thing, but I do. I need to write that down. My Battleline, I'm taking 3 units of Saurus Guard. You might think that's overkill, but this is the the standard Kroak power tower here. We've got our Kroak, our Astrolith Bear, 30 wounds for somebody to chew through before they can kill Kroak, and then a Balewind Vortex. But the secret part that makes this list so wonderful, are you ready for this? We're going to scroll down. There's a Stegadon. There's a Stegadon. There's a Stegadon. Another Stegadon. That's right. 5 Stegadons in this list. So we have Kroak, his friends, so the Astrolith Bear, the Saurus Guard, and Balewind Vortex to give him all the power, and then 5 Stegadons to wreak havoc on the field. So this was a lot of fun. So that comes in at 93 wounds, 2,000 points exactly. You can take 5 Stegadons because they in this elite sub faction they lose the behemoth, so that you can take more than 4. Woohoo! So that was my list for this. His list, we're going to play, we'll pop over here. I don't have a ton of pictures for this. We're going to make this a fast bat report here. He was taking also a fun Nurgle list. He's got Thricefold, so he has 3 Greater Unclean Ones and Rotigus. So he actually has 4 of the big ones. And you can see this beautiful handmade Greater Unclean One there, and so it's a wonderful creation, quite distracting on the table. So here's and then he's got some Plague Bearers. They're not in a battalion or anything. Big block of 30, 10, and 10 deployed over there. So we are playing Knife to the Heart. We've got an objective here and here, and that battle plan is if you hold both objectives after turn 3 and on, then you instantly win the game. So this is not one you see a lot in tournaments, and for good reason. It can be swung pretty hard just by a dice roll. So we are definitely having fun in this game. And here's how our deployment looks. He did outdrop me, so he's going to get to choose who goes first. I did get the Realm Shaper Engine on my side. I put the Astrolith Bear so that his 6-up death save is kind of in a bigger bubble. I think it covered all the way to that, this whole group here. And I put 5 guard in there. They popped out pretty quick. I think in my first turn, I got them out of there. I didn't have to worry about any kind of deep strike with him or anything. I put 3 Stegadons over on this side. They're going to try to charge up through here and take on those units. And eventually, I'm going to hope to score the objective with these 3 guys here. I'm going to try to shoot that one up the board if I get a chance and tie up these Greater Unclean Ones, because that Stegadon will have a 3-up save versus those Greater Unclean Ones. So that'll be nice. And then hopefully take these guys, that Stegadon over there, take out the Plague Bearers, and then flank that way if I can. I put Kroak just right up on the line. If he gives me first turn, then I'm going to pop my Balewind up out as far as I can. Yeah, it's not very far, but it gets him a little bit extra range. And then he has an extra 6 inches from the Astrolith Bear, and an extra 6 inches from the Balewind. He should be able to hit these guys pretty easy. I kind of wanted to line him up, see if I could get those Chaos Demons, because you do get a buff against Chaos Demons, which is his entire army. So that'd be nice. And so that's kind of how my deployment went. He did put his 3 big ones there, and because he was dropping in a battalion, I was able to kind of deploy strategically against where I wanted. So I got my Kroak lined up for popping mortals against those guys. That's kind of battle plan. We don't have a ton of pictures here, so we're going to go through this pretty quick. My first turn, I got my Saurus units kind of spread out here, so I can get some bodies on this objective, but still pass off all those wounds. And I didn't really send much forward. I kind of hung back, waiting to see what kind of turn he would make. And since we can't really win this game yet, I was just going to shoot as much as I could with my Stegadons and see what kind of damage they could do. I was able to put quite a few wounds into his army with Kroak turn 1. I think I got all of his the spammable spell from Kroak into his Greater Unclean Ones, all 3 of them. With that extended range, I was able to reach all 3. And it was something like 20-something mortals I got through. And so it was pretty nice. We had those guys pretty heavily bracketed, but Greater Unclean Ones can heal up pretty good. So if you don't kill them off, they're going to end up getting some wounds back. So I played a little KG on this one, and then it was his turn. He popped out Geminids, and basically the story of the game with these Geminids, I couldn't waste a spell cast with Kroak to dispel them, and so I basically just ate them most of the game. These Stegadons were constantly being harassed by it, and they actually took out quite a few wounds from those Geminids. And those Stegadons, yeah, that was harassing them all game. But, I only had 5 casts with Kroak because he's up on the Balewind. And you may think, well, that's a lot, but I wanted to use every single one of those casts every time. So he sends, in his turn, these guys are faster than you think. As long as they're within 7 of the tree, then they can make a run and charge. And these 2 actually get into my line here, and he just sends them straight ahead, just hoping to bog me down and keep me back there. They are the melee variant, I think. They have the swords, so I think they were a little bit better. And this one was better against heroes, and this one had Witherstave. So if he was trying to shove those 2 into me and kind of mess up my lines for the rest of the game. And he makes the charge on both of those guys. There's kind of where we're at. You can see this unit is coming down over here. These guys are hanging back, which I think by the end of the game we kind of felt like they should have moved forward with him turn 1, since I didn't really have any deep strike or anything. And you can see this unit over on the far right is flanking that side. He was able to get a couple spells off, but Kroak is +2 to unbind with the Constellation, and his native +1 to unbind. So I was able to stop some of the spells, but not all of them. And there we got a nice shot of the Greater Unclean Ones coming in. Yes, they did make it in. And they're gone. So, yeah, they did make it in. We don't have a ton of pictures of what happened, but basically they come in and they sit there and we just grind for 2 or 3 turns. And I think it was after turn 2, I had done enough damage to take them off and then start working on that 3rd one. And that 3rd one, I think I was able to clear off in turn 3. And so, charging into Kroak, if you can't kill him off, then he's going to end up doing a lot of wounds to you. But especially because in this setup, his spell is doing a flat 3 to those Chaos Demons. So he was wrecking those guys. I would usually miss one of his spells every turn. But I was consistently getting about 2 of them off, and so that would cause about 6 damage to each one of those guys every turn. So he was able to heal some of it back up, but then I had the Stegadons to shoot, and then Stegadons to fight, and he wasn't doing a whole lot of damage because it's in Coalesce. He wasn't doing a whole lot of damage back. He killed off a couple of Saurus Guard, but I think the whole game I only took 1 wound to Kroak, so he was able to pass off most of that, especially with this Astrolith bear here having a nice little bubble from this Realm Shaper engine. It really helped. So we did end up clearing those guys off, and it came down to basically a priority roll. You can see he's brought these Rotigus down over here, and he's cleared off 2 Stegadons with using spells from Rotigus, and she got a charge on the Stegadon that was over there, and these Geminids just kept wrecking me over there. But I had to eat them. I was backing one of them up, this Stegadon here, and backed this one here up a little bit just so he could shoot, and retreated that one out of combat at some point, but he ended up killing that one. And I was gonna try to hook that one back up if I had time, and same for this guy. he got into combat with those 30 Plague Bearers. And notice they're gone. So I was able to, at this point I had a ton of command points, so I was able to pump up, damage as much as I could, re-rolling hits and stuff like that, or re-rolling hit rolls of 1, and saves of 1 and stuff. So I was able to spend some command points to make sure I killed off those guys, but able to grind through them in maybe 2 turns. And at this point I'd killed all the 3 Gritter and Clean ones. He only had Rotigus, and he had this 1 unit of Plague Bearers over here. But the funny thing is this was actually a really close game, because I only have 3 bodies in. I had sent these guard over here to block because I knew these guys were coming down, and my Stegadon had dealt with this last greater unclean one right there. And so it basically came down to priority roll in turn 4, and if he charged these guys in here and killed off one of them, I think, and he was within striking range. All he had to do in turn 4 was retreat those guys onto the objective. If I won the priority roll, I could just spend a command point to have him fly, have him run 6, and he's on his undefended objective back here. And so it literally came down to a priority roll. There's his Plague Bearers coming in, and you can see they killed off 1 guard, and he had 1 in, I still had 2, and he would just retreat these guys onto the objective and win the game instantly. So it came to a roll-off, and I won the roll-off by 1, 5-4. And so I was able to run my Stegadon over here to his objective, a flying Stegadon onto his objective to win the game. So it was a fun little, fun game. We had a lot of combat there in the middle. The Kroak spells are pretty nasty when you get them close, and especially with this extended range where it's a 22-inch bubble. Now you're spending a lot on them, but the Stegadons also help because that shooting is just brutal when you have 5 of them. That's 15 shots, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, and they're doing 3 damage each. So yeah, I mean a potential theoretically 45 damage at 24-inch range plus 8-inch move. You're not going to get all those through, but it's enough to wear stuff down, and especially if a couple sneak through at 3 damage each. You're not expecting that. That'll do some major damage. So, fun game here. What do y'all think about the list? This has got to be as perfect a Seraphon list as you can come up with, right? The Kroak power tower there and 5 Stegadons. It sure was a lot of fun. It definitely won't do well on something with a lot of objectives, but if you can castle something with the Kroak and then send the Stegadons to attack, man, it sure is a lot of fun. All right, that's it for this one. Fun game, fun casual game. At some point, we're going to get some tournaments going again, and I'll have to start playing some real competitive lists. The last couple of videos have been fun Seraphon lists, so yeah, we're gonna have to start practicing again. All right, guys, see y'all later.